supreme compassion, vast grace light, vast grace light, vast grace light, unique supreme compassion, vast grace light. Peace and pleasure be to all beings. Dear brothers and sisters, it gives me great pleasure to be in midst of you all today, because Mr. Shan is a unique and important person to me. When he requested me to give a talk on the advanced tips of Valalar, Valalar means, he has mentioned also, he is a saint Valalar, he is a sage Valalar. That too, he had added a word, scientist sage Valalar. So I am going to focus more on science, more on the teachings of Valalar in the background of science. In the outset, I would like to thank Mr. Shan for having given me this opportunity to share few of my thoughts on Swami Valalar, who is the scientist of all times. I used to narrate always. And through the platform of Siddha Veda, the Center for Transdisciplinary Studies, US, Mr. Shan himself is a great thinker. I have seen his thinking power on few of the international forums. So it's my privilege to share my views now. Why I see Valalar as a scientist and what tips he gives us for our betterment of life. If you want peace and pleasure in life, we should take his tips. Everybody is seeking for that. Everybody is longing for the pleasure and peace in life. Yes, Valalar gives the tips for this pleasure and peace. Within this 30 minutes or 40 minutes time frame, I would like to touch upon few tips of Valalar for our advancement in the path of Saint Valalar. The first point I would like to touch upon is raising early in the bed. I can see some of the eyebrows raising because they feel that I am going to touch their comfort level. Actually, getting up early in the bed is give you more comfort and more healthier life. That we should understand. The LKG or the kindergarten curriculum in Tamil Nadu by Avayar is Vaigari Tuiledu. What does it mean? Get up early in the morning. Scientist Valalar says, get up at 3:30 and be connected with God till 6 o'clock in the morning. This 2.5 hours. I used to say always, it may be easier for an older person like me. For the people, those who are working hard day and night for winning their bread, adjust your timing. At least get up at 5 o'clock, if not past 4:30 or 4 o'clock. Get connected with God after finishing your morning duties and all. Why we should do that? The people who are doing regular meditation, they will understand. When you do meditation at 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the evening, and do meditation in the morning at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, you will see the difference. The mind, which is always wavering, will sit in a place where you want. Just come to your forehead and sit there as you want. This is a practical experience I am sharing with you. It's not the verbal or theoretical I am talking with you. Since I have been doing meditation for the last 40-50 years, I have seen the difference of doing the meditation early in the morning and doing it differently. Because I do the meditation around 6 times a day. But the meditation which I do in the morning is unique. The reason is the whole world is sleeping. The whole world is rest. There is no activity at all totally. There is no pollution at all totally in the morning. There is no vehicle. There is no activity. The entire world is sleeping in calm and calm and calm. So naturally when you do meditation that time, your mind automatically goes and sits in a place. This is what I have seen in my life. What is the reason why this? Not only our Valalar says this, even our Vedas, our Shastras, they insist upon this early morning rising. The reason what they say, the name what they give to this early morning is a Usha Kalam or Brahma Muhurtam. This 3:30 to 6 o'clock, the 2.5 hours is a Usha Kalam or Brahma Muhurtam. Why all our rishis for thousands of years have been insisting this? Is there any fact behind it? Is there anything connected to the health? Health, whenever I say health, it's a mental health as well as a physical health. You must be knowing about these different spheres of our world, our earth. From Earth's surface to 5 kilometers, we call it as troposphere. 10 kilometers. From Earth's surface up to 10 kilometers high, that is troposphere. From 10 kilometers to 50 kilometers, we call it as stratosphere. I am not going to touch upon the other spheres now. Let us focus on the stratosphere, second sphere. That's very important for our discussion today, which is 10 kilometers high to 50 kilometers. The first 0 to 10 kilometers, that is troposphere, is very turbulent. That's why the flights and all, as soon as they take off, they try to go and cross this troposphere. They go about 10 kilometers height because it's very calm and quiet. What is important for our discussion, this troposphere, is this is a layer where the ozone layer is present. Ozone is 3 atoms of oxygen connected with. This ozone layer is a lifesaver. That's accumulated, the whole ozone gas is accumulated in this stratosphere, which serves as the filter for the ultraviolet rays which emerge from sun. The sun keeps on radiating a lot of ultraviolet rays which reaches our earth. What does its ozone layer do? What does it do? There are 3 types of ultraviolet rays: C type, B type and A type. The B and C types are long wavelength ultraviolet rays which is completely absorbed by this ozone layer. Only the C type ozone layer passes through this stratosphere and reaches us earth. You all must be knowing this ultraviolet rays is that's responsible for our lot of diseases on earth, like cancer and all this thing. So ozone layer in that way plays a major role in saving the human life or any other living being on earth. What scientists have found out after their long research, the ultraviolet rays are at the minimum in the early morning as well as in the dawn of sun. What is the reason they are giving for that? The sun is in an angle to the earth. In an inclined position, the sun is seen at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. So the distance between the sun and the earth is little longer. So the ultraviolet rays are at lowest level. For example, at the 12 o'clock noon, the sun is very near to earth. The ultraviolet rays are at peak. That's why normally people try to avoid going in the hot sun because of the ultraviolet rays only. So there are 2 timings where the ultraviolet rays are at minimum. As I said, one is in the evening 6 and next is the early morning. But what happens in the evening? The earth functions as a sink of heat. Throughout the day, the hot sun The rays are being absorbed by the earth, by the rock, by the soil, by different buildings, so many things. But start releasing, after sunset, whatever the heat and the ultraviolet rays absorbed by the sun or rock on earth is slowly released back to the atmosphere. It goes on ceasing slowly. When it reaches 12 o'clock, it will be lesser, 1 o'clock lesser, 3 o'clock lesser. At 3:30, it is at the least level, till the sunrise again at 6 o'clock. Now you think of how great our forefathers, having realized this and given the timing as 3:30 to 6 o'clock as the Brahma Muhurta. That's why they are always, I call them as a great scientist. This ultraviolet is all we are talking today. They talked about this long back. That's why Vadalar gives a first tip for a healthy life: get up early in the morning. If not at 3:30, if not at 4 o'clock, 4:30, get up at least 5 o'clock in the early morning. That's the first tip we should grasp from Vadalar for our advancement in the path of spirituality or the healthy life, whatever you call. Also, you specify some herbs like Karisale and so many things. The people can buy it from Tamil Nadu whenever they come. They can take it even in US or in far off places wherever they are. The next thing what Vadalar gives as a tips for our advancement is taking hot water. It may look simpler. Hot water is a simple subject, is so big. The Vadalar's concept of attaining the biological immortality is by generating psychic heat, which is pure heat. In Sanskrit it is called Suddha Ushna. So, generating psychic heat in our body by way of consuming heat producing food materials, drinking hot water, doing meditation, all the search for truth in mind, and above all, infinite compassion towards all beings. This we should keep in mind. Vadalar therefore cautions to avoid anything which could bring coldness to the body, like drinking cold water, cool drinks, bathing in cold water, keeping bare body open in air, eating chilled food of previous session, particularly from fridge, taking curd or greens in night, and so on. You would have seen the portraits of Vadalar covering his whole body with a white cloth. That's nothing but to avoid the exposure to the open air. Vadalar details the procedure to prepare hot water. That depth we can go a little later. Now I'll say why the hot water is important as per the medical science. The magazine Medical News Today narrates the following advantages of taking hot water. Drinking hot water helps to break down the food faster than drinking cold water. This is a scientific proof is there. It reduces the risk of constipation by supporting regular bowel movement. It advocates that hot water might help the body to detoxify. This is very important because the body is always accumulating a lot of toxins in our body. When you take hot water, it detoxifies. When water is not hot enough to raise person's body temperature, it can cause sweating, which expels toxins and can clean the pores. Hot water is a vasodilator, meaning it expands blood vessels, improving circulation of blood to muscles and organs. Hot water also helps to absorb more nutrients and flushes out waste. That's very important. Waste excretion is only by hot water. Researchers found that drinking 500 ml of hot water before meal increased metabolism by 40% compared to that of cold water by 30%. So what else we need, sir? So it's a pure science what Saint Vadalar says. That's why I call Vadalar as well as all our forefathers as great scientists. If we see in the eye of chemistry, ordinary water contains a lot of calcium and magnesium bicarbonate, which we call as hot water, which will not give foam, which will not give freshness when you take bath in hot water. What is the hardness? Hardness is due to calcium and magnesium bicarbonates, presence of these two radicals or ions. When you boil, what happens? The calcium and magnesium bicarbonate is turned into calcium magnesium carbonate. Once it becomes carbonate, what happens? The whole bicarbonate is soluble in water, that's why the water was hard. When you boil it, the bicarbonate is converted into calcium and magnesium carbonate, which is insoluble in water. What happens? Then they come out of water, settles down as a precipitate or a solid base. So when you filter the water, you remove the calcium and magnesium carbonate. See how a chemistry is thought over by our forefathers and by Vallala. Just by boiling, you convert the hard water into soft water by removing the calcium and magnesium bicarbonate. And the medical benefits I have already narrated. So now I am going to, I think the time, yes. Meditation. Meditation is very important, which has been focused and emphasized by all our forefathers for thousands of years. Not today and yesterday. More than 4,000, 5,000 years back, if you refer to any Veda or any literature in Tamil, it will have a reference to meditation. The light is prevalent everywhere. But when you focus that same light, which is prevalent everywhere, through a lens, what happens? The focal point becomes a subtle point. The light is focused on one single point. So when you bring a paper below that single point, it starts burning. It's catching fire. So the energy is intensified. The solar energy, which is prevalent everywhere, through a lens, when it is intensified, it becomes so multifold in energy, it burns a paper even. The same thing happens when you do meditation. The mind is wavering all over the day, all over the place. When you bring the mind to your central focus point, say forehead, that's where you put kumkum or chandan to specify, to notify, this is a point where your center of gravity is there, where you have to focus. That's a meditation. Vallala's meditation is unique, which I am not going to discuss today because it will take another half an hour. The benefit of meditation, how it is emphasized by science, I am going to deal with now. The benefit of meditation is now confirmed by modern science with MRI and EEG. The practice of meditation appears to have amazing varieties of neurological benefits, changes in gray matter volume, to reduce activity in me centers of the brain, to enhance connectivity between the brain regions. Meditation, as per vast researches done world over, particularly a study from University of California, confirms that meditation helps preserve the aging brain. Please understand this. Please underline this. What we are fighting with, everybody wants to be young, energetic, active, then do the meditation. What science says, I am not saying that. The University of California confirms that meditation helps preserve the aging brain. They found that long time meditators had better preserved brains than non-meditators as they aged. Meditators are found to have more gray matter volume. When the age of the brain is preserved from aging by meditation, aging of the body is also naturally preserved simultaneously. One of the most interesting studies in the last few years carried out in Yale University found that mindfulness meditation decreases activity in the default mode network, they call it as DMN. The brain responsible for mind wandering and self-referential thoughts. Monkey mind as defined by Vallala. Vallala always compares the mind to monkey. All over the Arpa you can see, whenever it talks about mind, you will say monkey mind. In 2011, Sarah Laser and her team at Harvard University found that mindfulness meditation can actually change the structure of the brain. They found that meditation was found to increase cortical thickness in the hippocampus, which governs learning and memory, and also found that there were decreases in the brain cell volume in the amygdala, which is responsible for fear, anxiety, and stress. Vadalar will always emphasize, don't have fear. He says fear should be zero. How it is possible? Only when you do meditation. Because the amygdala, which is responsible for fear, anxiety, and stress, so the brain cell volume angle comes down. It has been confirmed by various researchers that meditation improves concentration and attention. Just as we remove the moss and water, which prevents sunbeam from penetrating into water, we need to remove the blackish green veil which covers our soul from compassionate beings of the Lord, and this is possible only through extreme heat of devotion and meditation. Vadalar always says, do meditation here, focus here. It's called as Tiruchitrambalam. Tiruchitrambalam means is a place where your chit means mind sits there, rests there. When you do this, what happens? It's like removing the moss. You would have seen in the water which is stagnating for long under sun, you would have formed some algae like a plant which is green in color. Whenever you put a stone, it will try to remove to little extent. Then you can see the clear liquid beneath. After a few seconds, again it closes. Like that, whenever you do meditation, your blackish or your illusion or the forces which are prohibiting you approaching a finer path or a spiritual path will go off. So what does it mean? So Vadalar emphasizes that the meditation, one single practice, it will lead you to a healthier and happier life and to a spiritual life which we are longing for. So the meditation is so important. What science says also I have shared with you now. I am going to give few of the tips which Vadalar emphasizes throughout Arutpa. He says, be cheerful always. This is one command we can say rather it is a tip. Don't be sorrowful always. Actually what we do, we try to grasp even 20 years before, 40 years before, whatever has happened into our thinking. Why do you recollect all these things which is not conducive to your happy life? Why do you carry them throughout your shoulder? He says, be cheerful, forget everything, forgive everything, forget everything, be cheerful. As Shri Ravi Shankar puts, past is history, future is mystery, present is your present. The first present is the present tense, the second present is your gift. Present is your present. Be cheerful, live happily. That's what Vadalar says. Be cheerful always. Urchagathodu irukka vendum. Eppozhudum urchagathodu irukka vendum. This is a very important caution or command or advice or tip, whatever you call, by Vadalar. What happens when you are cheerful? There is a hormone called endorphin. This is responsible for your happiness. So when you are happy, when you are cheerful, the hormone endorphin is released in plenty. Whenever you do jogging, for example, you feel that you have done a beautiful jogging today, exercise today. That pleasure what you get in your mind after doing some exercise or the job which is very near to your heart, the endorphin is released. That is why you should be cheerful. The more and more endorphin released, the more and more healthier you are. You cannot buy this endorphin from outside. The easiest way is be cheerful. Automatically the endorphin is released. The second tip what Vadalar says is, be kind in your words and deeds to others. Kanivaga pesudal. This is a discipline he gives to the mouth and to the ear and to the eyes. Why we should be pleasant in our words and deeds? When you are pleasant, soft to others, he replicates, the other person replicates. Because the society is a mirror. Whatever you give to them, you get it back. So when you are cheerful, when you are soft, when you are kind to others in your words and deeds, they replicate that. That's what does the science say about this? Science says that there is another hormone which is called dopamine. The dopamine is released whenever you are kind to others in your words and deeds. Not only in words, not only in deeds. All your actions should be kind. Just check, whatever I do, is it kind enough to others? When you expect kindness from others, is it not your bounden duty to show your kindness to others? So by doing so, you are secreting, you are releasing another important hormone called dopamine. When the dopamine is released in good quantity, your health improves, your longevity improves. Now the people always complain, my knee is paining, my hip is paining, my backbone is paining, my head is paining. All these accumulation of all this sorrowness, hatredness, to remove all these things, you should try to release these hormones. Endorphin, how do you release it? By cheerful to others. How do you release dopamine? By extending your kindness in words and deeds to others. Third one is the one which the world has thought over in very depth, especially Gautama Buddha. He has found out that longing for the materialistic world with the lust is the cause for all our sorrowness. How can you get rid of this? He found that tumbame, asaikku karanam tumbame. He was trying doing meditation for long and preaching to remove this lust or belongingness to the worldly materials. But I was asked a simple question and simple solution also. How can you get rid of this asai? He says a simple word. Cannot get rid of this by meditation, by yoga, or standing on a nail, or standing on one leg for 1,000 years and doing. It cannot go. There is an easiest way to get rid of this belongingness to the worldly materials and lust, all these things, just by giving to others. Asai edanal pogum, koduttal pogum. If you start giving to others, you lose attachment to the materialistic things. This is a very important teachings of Vadalar. What science says, whenever you give something to others, there is another hormone, serotonin, which is released in plenty. This is a third hormone which is responsible for our happiness and healthy life. You can't take it in the form of a capsule or a medicine or a tablet. Give it to others. Whatever you have, share it with others. There is Thiruvalluvar's word, Paguttundu Palluyir Ombudal Nooru Togutha Uttulella antare. Whatever the little food you have, why not to share it with others? He never asked you to be hungry. You also take. If you take 5 handfulness, can't you give 1 handful of food to others? Share with others. That is the biggest thing you can do on earth. That's what he says. Whatever the traits the world have been proclaiming so far, this is the highest trait. Try to share whatever you have. Then the serotonin, the hormone, automatically releases in plenty. Serotonin is released in plenty. Even what Mr. Shan is doing today is a knowledge sharing. This is also a very big thing. Whenever you share your knowledge with others, he lays a platform to share the knowledge. He is helping others to releases serotonin in plenty every week. I don't know the frequency what he does. Whenever he conducts this session, he is helping the people to release this hormone serotonin in plenty, so that you live happily and peacefully. The last one which I am going to touch upon on this tip is very important as far as the Saint Vadalar is concerned, Scientist Vadalar is concerned. He says, love all living beings. Simple sentence. There ends everything, sir. There ends everything. Whatever the yoga, meditation, puja, namaskaram, whatever you do, you run so many schools, colleges, orphanages, old age homes. Okay, it's all good only. It's not bad. But whatever the benefit you will try to reap from that, that could be in multifold if you're doing this loving other living being. Compassion to all living beings. The word compassion is nothing but the physical body of Vadalar. Vadalar says, the compassion and my body are not different two integrities. They are one. They are not two in my body. My life is not different from the compassion. He says, if you remove compassion from my body, my life will go off. Irakkam uruvil en uyirum varum. That's the word he says. Irakkam uyirum ondradai irandala. They are not two different entities. They are one and same. The whole structure of Vadalar, whatever you see, is a structure of compassion. That's why the birthday of Vadalar is being emphasized as the Compassion Day, International Compassion Day. What happens when you are compassion? The whole goal of Vadalar's teaching is the Aanmaneya Orumipadu. What does it mean? Without any distinction of race, creed, sex, caste or color, extend your unconditional love to all living beings. This compassion is the whole goal of life. This only can lead you to immortality, or whatever the siddhi mutti you are planning or aiming or talking about. Only the compassion can give this ultimate stage. What happens when you have compassion to others? Science has found out an important hormone called oxytocin. The hormone oxytocin is released in plenty whenever you are kind to other living being on earth, without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste or color. Whatever you have, try to share with them. It doesn't need any money, sir, to extend compassion. Does it? What you want is only the mind, open mind. Vadalar never advises to take loan and help others. Whatever you earn, try to save some money. Out of that saved money, do the compassion to the other living being. That's what he says. In that way, anybody can do. Suppose a person is there who is not in a position even to extend a penny of money. Okay, you have mind. Just think of that starving person or starving life, be it dog or whatever it is. Pray to God at least. Oh my God, please send somebody to help that suffering being. That prayer can't you do? When you don't have anything to extend in the physical form, at least do this meditation in your mind. That's what he says. So compassion can be any form. Nobody can say, I don't have anything to extend my compassion. It's only deceiving ourselves. So this is the basic concept of Vadalar. This universal compassion is the only way to seek the blessings of God. By this, you are releasing the important hormone, oxytocin. So if you want to live happily and healthy, what is the tip Vadalar is giving? Release the hormone endorphin by being cheerful always. Release the hormone dopamine by being soft to others, kind to others, by releasing that hormone serotonin by helping others, oxytocin by the compassion in your mind. The whole body, mind, soul, everything should be filled up with the compassion. These are the importance, though they may look simpler, but they are the very basic vital tips which Vallalar is giving us for our healthier and happier life. I think the time given to me is almost ceased now. So with these few words, I end up my talk today. I once again thank Mr. Shan for having given me this opportunity to share few of thoughts of Vallalar as I have perceived. Thank you, sir.
So now it is open for questions. You can raise your hands. Use the raise button to raise your hands, and I will open up the unmute button for you, so you can ask the questions or comments. Anything is fine. You can use also the chat button for your comments. So okay, so we have Jagdish ji, I think. Okay, go ahead, Jagdish, you can unmute and go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. I think, your talk was so simple, but very, very important. And so I don't have any question because you explained it so well that I don't have a question, but it was really wonderful talk about meditation, as well as these 4 points that specifically be cheerful, be kind, be give it to others, and love all beings. That was an excellent tips. Yeah, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
And we must thank you for sharing your knowledge, as well as you said rightfully, that every week Dr. Shan is doing exactly what you've been saying, that sharing his knowledge with a lot of people. Today we have 44 participants, and every week we have a number of people. Many of them are regular, but excellent. So we must thank both of you, for Dr. Shan, for arranging such a nice forum, as well as bringing in such a wonderful people like you who are willing to share their knowledge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anybody wants to share? Anu says, thank you so much for sharing this knowledge. Even store-bought water, like a mountain water need to be boiled. She's asking store-bought water. So can that be boiled and drunk if you're buying from store? So you can tell a little bit about water, yeah, if you other kind of waters, what are the different types of water you can be safe,
Actually, sir, the purest form of water what Vallalar envisages is the rainwater. That is the purest form of water, but rainwater is not available always at all places. That is why he specifies whenever this pure, for example, the mountain water, spring water, they are very pure in nature. The deep borewell water, they are very pure in nature. But due to pollutions, the level of pollution today is very high. Soil pollution, water pollution, air pollution. So that's why it's very, important for us today to take the water and boil it before taking, sir. And even science emphasizes very much, because a lot of germs and a lot of bacteria are present in water today. So whatever Vallalar says, taking hot water is very much backed by the today's environment and requirement, and by the scientists also. So better to boil always and take water, sir, even if it is mountain water.
And also the point that they're catching bottle in plastic and all, you should also be careful of that
exactly.
aspect, right? It's you're holding the petroleum based thing, a product as holding water and the heat in the sun, because they are traveling a lot, so it heats up and reacts with the water. It mixes, you get nanoparticles of plastic inside. So what is the choice, especially in the northeast region where we have snow? Snow is an amazing water. When snow is available, that's also amazing water that we can use. Rainwater, all these things we can collect. Tap water is better as long as you remove, filter it, the fluoride, whatever they put here. And I think that's the way to go than bottled water. But the heating part, what I was talking, that's the most important part. Even if you drink in any form, that's very important. So, yes, Shanu, see, you can open up.
Yeah. Namaste. I would like to echo the same as Mr. Jagdish, I think, the earlier speaker. I would like to thank you for explaining it so beautifully. We have heard about all ways of being of service, of being compassionate, but you have linked it with the physiological effect of doing all these things, and which is leading to the well-being. It is so beautifully explained. I thank you for that. And also about the boiling water, we never knew why it is beneficial. We just knew that, okay, these things happen, but the chemical impact of it so beautifully explained. So thank you so much. It was very beautiful, and I learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank Dr. Shan, as you were saying that every Wednesday, that is the peak of being peaceful, being joyful. The Wednesdays we have webinar every Wednesday, and that is when I'm most peaceful and most joyful. So we look forward to Wednesday and listening to all of you. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shah.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
Very nice, sir.
Rupaya?
Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Yes, we can't see you. Rupaya, you can put your speaker a little bit. Your camera. Yeah.
Camera. Okay, 1 minute.
Yeah, you're fine.
No, okay.
A little bit your the camera is little not focused. Yes,
okay.
That's good. That's good. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Vanakkam Ayya. Good morning, Ayya.
Vanakkam.
Ayya was telling about the importance of meditation just now. How does the meditation helps to activate our, especially the pituitary glands and the pineal glands and the other organs of the body?
Exactly, sir. Actually, when I talked about meditation, I didn't mention about that gland. Actually, meditation is more connected with the glands, sir, pituitary gland as a pineal gland. Especially there is an article, sir, scientific article. They have done one research. They have connected all neurological instruments to the brain. That experiment, because a paucity of time, I didn't. Actually, I would have given some posters also, some presentations also, where this photo could have been presented. I didn't do that today. Especially all neurological instruments connected with the brain. What they have found out, sir, whenever a person starts doing meditation, it has been proved by Sri Ravi Shankar in the United Nations also. They have brought all the neurological doctors, neurospecialists, connected all instruments to his brain, started doing meditation. The more and more it started going deeper into the meditation, the pineal gland started releasing the highest level of hormones. So what they have found out, the only one gland which is more connected with the meditation is the pineal gland. more than the pituitary gland. So this is what the whole exercise has done, sir. And they were given the point where that pineal gland start releasing that hormone. One single point with the red color they have given in the picture. What is very astonishing, sir? That point where they have focused, where the gland is releasing the hormone, is the one which our rishis have said, that is unnakukku mele uchikku keele. What Mr. Tirumala, what Tirumala Saint Tirumala says, what Valalar says as the Siddhakasam. Whatever these people have been saying so far for thousands of years, sir, that is exactly pointed out by the neurological instruments with a dot. The dot is exactly, just put a rod from your, there is one tongue inside in your mouth, from there and from the top, where it is joints in your forehead. It is a point, it is called Pagaravadiva Kudi in Tamil, sir. Pa means like a pa. If you put Tamil letter pa, there is a space like that in the center of the in your skull. That is a point which you are given as the place of the pineal gland when it is doing meditation. So whenever you do meditation, the point where the pineal gland focuses, expands and releases the hormone is that one point which our rishis have been saying as the Chiddakasam. This is very astonishing, sir. Actually, due to paucity of time, I could not give that presentation today, where the pineal gland is given by a red point by the scientist after doing the neurological experiment. So meditation is directly connected to the pineal gland, sir. I'm sorry I could not spend more time on that today because paucity of time. It's a very interesting point, sir. Very interesting point to discuss and understand.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah, few more comments are there. Nikanandrigala, it was such a pleasure and joy to attend this session. In simple, humble way to lead peaceful and beneficial life. And true, Wednesday evenings are the most awaited time of the week. We need more sessions with you, sir. So like Mohan Priya. Vandana's question is like, how long do you boil the water?
Exactly, sir. Actually, I didn't go deeper into the hot water because of paucity of time. Valala specifies very exactly, if you take 5 parts of water, the 3 parts of water should go off. The remnant should be only 2 parts. I will repeat again. Suppose you take 5 liters of water, 3 liters of water should evaporate. Only 2 liters of water should remain. What he says, he divides the water into 3 portions. One is Bodhabhagam, that is Mitlisik part. Second is the Vishabhagam, poisonous part. Third is Amudabhagam, ambrosial part. So water contains 3 parts. One is the Bodhabhagam or the element part. Second is the poisonous part or the Vishabhagam. Third is the Amudabhagam or ambrosial part. We should take in only the ambrosial part of any water. So what he says, take water, boil it for, it takes almost, we have tested our house, we are taking this hot water for 30-40 years, sir. The way what Valalar says. It takes around 1.5 hours, sir. 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So whenever you are working with some, maybe you are cooking or singing or doing some work, just put the water on a hot plate, put it on the medium heat, let it keep on boiling. We also, sir, he also specifies, add 1 pinch of dried ginger, chukku. He also gives a base, put a lime paste on the ginger, dry it in the sun. After drying, remove all the, or put it in the fire for some time. You can put it in the gas also. So it will become black. With a knife, you remove the top skin. Then you get a white inside part of that dried ginger. Powder it and keep it in a bottle. Take 1 small pinch of the dry ginger, put it in that boiling water. It nullifies, it kills off all germs in the water. So this is the purest form of water which you can make, whatever the pollution outside is prevailing. So to answer the question of that respected madam, boil it, out of 5 portions, boil of 3 portions, remain only 2 portions. So this is what he specifies. But I used to say in the different way also, sir. There are a lot of working women. They are all in hurry-burry in the morning. What I used to tell them, you cannot boil to this extent. At least boil for at least once full boil. Put it in a flask. Take that water in hot condition throughout the day. Don't allow the water to get chilled. Just boil it once. Even if this dry ginger is available, not available, forget it. At least you boil it. If not, you cannot boil it for 1.5 hours, at least boil it for 10-15 minutes, put it in flask. This is a compromise only, but that's how you have to follow, sir.
Okay, that answered Priya's question also, I think. Okay, so thank you. Yes, so I just wanted to thank you so much for this wonderful eye-opening session. I believe there are a lot of questions. People wanted to really hear more from you. It's not that they don't have questions. If we leave, it can go on. But for right now, we have our time running. So let's have maybe I can take a future session on lifestyle management in one of our diploma courses, so where we can add IS points and people who are interested can attend our diploma course. So here is the thing. This year we are opening the diploma course, and we are seeking help of even the government of India, Ayush, to support this. Then we have also our association, American Association of Ayurvedic Physicians in North America, and then we have 2 universities in the US, in Florida, that are approving our courses. So we all are giving a 1-year diploma to train individuals on advanced. There's an advanced diploma in holistic integrated medicine, because we have so far, there are bits and pieces of information throughout India. There are people who have done certain aspects like Ayurveda, certain aspects are there, Siddha, certain aspects are there, and then deep down, people who are learning in the college, they learn a little bit whatever people put in the syllabus, that committee members or something, and many of the things like Vallalar and all, Avayar, Vallalar and all, you don't read in any text. Therefore, like as a science, even in the Siddha schools, Ayurveda schools. So this is something really bad. I mean, there is so much of separation between this, tradition, and within the tradition, people do not recognize people as scientists. So they are scientific work, and now we are trying to integrate this. That's why this is important. Why we claim Vallalar as sage scientists. Who are sage scientists? First of all, the sage scientists are people who talk science. Remember. And why do we have to differentiate between scientists and sages? And these are not paid scientists. Scientists are paid people. They are paid, they have a deadline, they will have to work for a deadline. These people, the sage scientists, are not paid. Remember the difference. So the science, they are not very stressful to do any lies. Any paid scientist will have to, there are only very few born scientists like Einstein and all. But Tesla, Einstein, these kind of people are different. But in general, today what we call scientists are paid scientists. So they will be in a stressful environment, and they do science, and that's why science is going, all kind of corruption is happening both in medical field and other field. But sage scientists, they do not have a deadline. They have to speak truth, they speak only truth. And they don't make reference copying this and changing this. No, they directly get it from consciousness and they give us. So these are the difference between. And they don't talk about any religion. There is no religion in sage scientists. They come out of the religion completely. they accept Yammadam, Sammadam, and they accept universal theories. They talk about God as formless and omnipotent, omnipresent. So these are important things for a sage scientist. So that's why you should know the difference between these two things. People often think that scientist means it has to be a Westerner. This is a very wrong knowledge. Scientist means Einstein, Newton, this is how they tell. Why scientists need to be that way? Scientists need to talk science. There's a logic. All thermodynamic principle. Badalar has explained many thermodynamic principles on water. Very different things. Not just boiling water. So deep down, like why one state to another state, how it is removed. All the principle of Panchabhuta Tattva has been described. So he talks about more than 2,000 types of dimensions of space, which no other scientist has gone that far. So therefore, sage scientists are unique, and we need to really appreciate that. And so right now we have this diploma degree where we are bringing all this new concept, where there is a need. And there is a need. I mean, if there is a chance for us, we are ready to give even the Indian government a syllabus that is needed, and that's what we are planning. The whole Indian government, we can structure the syllabus, because today what we are learning, because there is nobody who can make a syllabus to learn. Even though you have everything, the syllabus committee and all, how the ministers and all cannot become a committee, because this is not changed. Basically, right? So only the transformation takes, you can really become a minister to change. So not by other kind of things. So there is a real need now, like people like us need to move forward to take this, and instead of blaming the government, so let us do whatever we could, right? And put forward, and that will work. So I suggest everyone to help, come forward and support us. So as a non-profit organization, we want to go expand worldwide to bring this co-realization model, where we can bring our sage scientists forward to the world. We present the sage scientists toward the world as sage scientists. So that's the main goal of our organization. So join our diploma course. It is very straightforward. You can finish in 1 year, and you will be trained in this area. It is your own independently. You can practice. What you can practice within the limitation of a government, you can practice. But you have support of different, the government and other universities support. That will take you forward. You can market yourself, right, to get your clients. So that's one thing. And then we have, maybe I can share some screenshot. Here we go. So this is, I don't know if you're able to see this. So this is one of the course that begins next week, Advanced Marma Therapy, or Femtoneurobiomagnetic Therapy and Psychoneuroimmunology. And this is starting next week, March 4th. And here I'll be teaching the full Marma course on a very deep level of what all this thing means. Often we try to explain all mechanisms based on, like, this is one way of explaining serotonin, melatonin, dopamine, all kind of things. But ancient, there is different ways of explaining everything. So in a ancient way, you can also explain the mechanisms, how it works. The whole body mechanism can be explained using indigenous knowledge, which scientifically explained using Nadi, Burma points, and the energy transfer using Panchabhuta Tattva. So this is the science where, like what happens when water goes in, what happens to the digestive system. So in modern we can explain, that's another Western way, but here we are explaining in ancient way how digestion happens according to what vayus are involved, what are the vayus, what are the agnis that are involved, and how the digestion takes place, what nadi is taking this food to different parts, and how the now you are talking about protein, these kind of things, right? Vitamins. Here we talk about saptadhatus, how 7 types of transformation happens to the same food through the nadis, and how excretion and everything happens. So this a whole new science can be understood only if you know the Varma anatomy, and this is that's why it's called femto-neuro biomagnetic. It's a femto-neuroscience. A whole thing is a femto-neuroscience. It's a very subtler science, and this is the fundamental science of our sage scientists. So you make use of this opportunity, and I also want to share another slide with you. Bear with me. Okay, so there's another slide. So you can also take some courses from ongoing courses. We have Adimure course which is going on, like we teach ancient martial arts. Martial arts, for a good reason, is not for hitting people, but it's for defense. But more than that, you're doing exercise. Some exercise that activate all the marma points in your body. So that's something that you should think about. But here is another slide on yoga. We also teach yoga. So there is a yoga slide here I want to share with you. Something is not allowing me. Okay, I can do it. Better, I think. Okay, so here you can join our yoga on every so one of instructor Acharya Preeti Harikrishnan, she is conducting this wonderful yogasana lectures. So this is all on every Sunday, 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. IST. So this is on it's 6 p.m. probably the next day. So here the whole idea of learning these yogasanas are very important, because you have to fit, like I told, meditation. So suddenly you cannot meditate. First we need to prepare our body for meditation. Even if you sit down, how will you meditate? It's difficult. So you rather do some asanas. Asanas prepare, they all are tuning up your nerves. Your nadis are tuned through asanas. Asanas are designed in such a way that it tunes up the nervous system or the nadi system, nadi anatomy in our body. So which prepares you for the rise of different energies, like even Kundalini raising. If there is any blockage in your nadi system, then you will have, you cannot meditate. It will affect you. You can feel pain in between. It can get stuck into different places. So here, by tuning up, you can really, with the help of a person who is trained in yoga for long, you can really use that for meditation. So the asanas can be used as an aid, and it's an activity. Asana by itself will also give you energy. So that's the advantage. It's not like gym, you're going to get tired after asanas, and you're going to gain energy, and as well as you're going to clean your whole system, so you're prepared for meditations. So that's why, like I was talking early morning, you wake up early morning, but you can do asanas and other activities similar to that, and be in that state also. You can be mindful in doing all these things, right? And this is very much needed in this today's life, this hectic life. So these are something I wanted to tell you. And then we also wanted to, we have other courses like other art and music, Carnatic music, all these things. So if you're interested, please join us. And I once again thank Thiru Muthujodi Ayya for opening up this wonderful Vallalar series. It could go for a series of talks, Vallalar's talks, because sage scientist Vallalar has upgraded. See, if a person has upgraded the whole Siddha system, then that is the advanced version. See, if there are people who already practice something for thousands of years, he practiced all those things and then he upgrades it. So that means there is an advanced knowledge. You don't have to go back to many things. You may have something is missing here, you can go back. But there's something is already here, you don't have to go back. So that is the knowledge that is given. So it makes our life very easy. And like teachers like Muthujodi Ayya and all are people who are preserving this knowledge and bringing this forward, right? And most of you know Kupsami, Salem Kupsami also, right? And he has also given talks. But we know that only very few people are here who are who has scientific background, and we can reach the world global people, so that this has at least, in some areas you don't know English, it's difficult to reach other people. So at least that's something that's great. Knowing multi language, having that skills is very helpful. So it was really nice. Yeah, thank you for your wonderful time, and see you all next week with another speaker. He's also a Siddha background speaker with a lot of research, another thing. And once in a month we will have, definitely I think we will bring a Vallalar talk. So that's very important, I think, at this point.
Thank you, Ayya. Thank you, Ayya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.